All right. Today is the 10th of July, 2021, and this is 9:10 in India. So we shall start our discussing our topic today. Today's topic is source of knowledge and knowingness. So in that, so this difference between knowledge and knowingness, if you open internet, there are a lot of explanation from the grammatical point of view. There are different linguistic things they are explaining, which is noun, which is verb and all. We are not going to discuss that. Okay, this is not about the grammatical meaning and explanation of knowledge and knowingness. It is about the meaning of the knowledge and knowingness in our life, in the spiritual path. So this is it has got a completely two different implications, that the knowledge and knowingness. The knowledge is what we gather from the external world. Means we use our five senses and the brain to get or accumulate knowledge. Maybe we'll put it in our memory. So fundamental difference is knowledge is always coming from external sources and enter into our system through five senses. Okay? So this kind of knowledge, like it can even be a skill, like suppose I'm driving skill, I'm learning. So it is some external device I'm learning. It is coming through my hands and legs. It is not always listening or reading. That's what I mean. That's what I have used the word five senses. So these external things, when we transfer it from external world to within us in our memory, and that is called knowledge. Okay, that is a fundamental understanding what knowledge is. And knowledge, the characteristic of knowledge is, it is a borrowed one. Like it is not created by me. It is somebody else has done it before. Suppose you are reading a book of science, how the evolution of human being happened or something like that. Darwin's theory, suppose you are reading. It is somebody else's experience. They have written down and you are reading it. So in other words, it's a borrowed idea or borrowed content, what you are getting within yourself, and that is called knowledge. Okay, so by the way, just let me make it clear. I am not criticizing here. Knowledge is needed. I'm not saying you don't have to go for knowledge all the time you go for knowingness. I'm not saying that. I'm just explaining it, how it works. Somebody called knowledgeable who gathered maximum. Maybe he has read, I don't know, 10,000 books or, and done some external, courses attended, or maybe has done graduate and masters and PhD, what is called double PhD and things like that. So those are the levels attached to how much you have gathered from the external world. And whatever the external world, this knowledge, it is, most of the things are borrowed. And it is somebody else's, their experience, they have written, and you have read it, and you got it, okay, that is the one. But this external knowledge is not your experience. or we can say direct experience. Okay, reading is an experience, of course. So you get it through reading, but the actual content is not your experience. So that is about the characteristics of the knowledge we gather. For that, we need to have some active brain and memory and things like that. So if somebody is mentally unstable, but has no memory, they cannot gather knowledge. Okay, so we call them, somebody we mentally unstable, we call them, whatever, what we call them doesn't matter, but that mentally unstable person who cannot have a memory, or somebody who's in coma, they cannot gather knowledge because the connection with the external world is lost. They become unconscious. That means unconscious brain is not working. So you need that instrument of storage and instrument of gathering. The instrument of gathering is your five senses, and instrument of storage, your memory cells. As simple as that. So far, our educational system, in the name education, we means this, the knowledge gathering instrument, system, you can say. That's why our education always takes the check of our memory, how you can reduce. I'm sure all of you know that in the exam paper, how much you recollect, that is your performance test. How much you can download. First is upload, and how much you can download determines your capability, education. So is that mean that somebody lives in a village, maybe, quite middle-aged person, and they don't run their life? Of course, yes, they can, because they don't need formal education to have this kind of knowledge and understanding. They get from their direct experiences. They are in the nature, they are working in their own hand, and they get that directly. So, but anyway, that is also a form of gathering knowledge, not by reading and the formal education. But what I mean to say is that this type of gathering is always coming from the external source. That is, we call knowledge, or this is a type of thing, the system of transferring that, we call it education. Education is needed. We need to have that kind of some level of certification so we get a job and so on and so forth. So we don't know, somebody is MBBS or somebody is engineering graduate, there should be difference, no? So which profession they will take. So in that sense, we need that system. Okay, so, but it is external. Whatever we read in the books, it is somebody else's experience. They have noted down, but somebody has done some research and find out and things like that, and then briefly put it. That we learn and we say we know about it, and that's how it goes. All right, so this is about the knowledge. Knowingness is the source of that is not external. Okay, that is a fundamental difference. So from where it comes? It comes from the universal knowledge, you can say, if you name it a knowledge, it comes from the universal consciousness, which knows everything. Okay. The universal consciousness, we are connected with the universal consciousness through our soul consciousness, which is the individual representation of individual consciousness. And through that channel, that universal knowledge, and it is in Sanskrit, it is called Brahma Gyan. Brahma means universe, universal knowledge. Okay. The truth means that is pure, uninterpreted form. Okay. And it is difficult to explain, and that is also one of the characteristics which is a part of my discussion. Why it cannot be expressed in the words. Okay. Anyway, I'm just trying to give some idea. That gets, when we get connected to it, we are aware of it. It is not downloading and storing. It is not like external thing we read and we memory and we understand. This thing is we get connected and instantly it flows through us. We need not to store it. It is called connection. Through the connection, you tune into that knowledge and it flows through you. It is not being stored. And it is the source is the universal consciousness, which is always at present moment, now moment. So through now moment, stop your thinking mind, get connected, download, you know it, matter ends there. That is called direct experience. You need not to store it. You need not to remember it, what was downloaded yesterday, no need. Because at any moment, at your will, you can connect and get that, whatever you need to know. This particular aspect is called knowingness. Is internal. Source is internal, coming from the universal consciousness. All that is. Okay. Again, here I'm not using the word God because God is different to different people. So universal consciousness, this you have to just tune in to connect. It will flow through you at that moment. That is knowingness. In few of the characteristics, if you wanted me to, I have noted down few points just to explaining point of view. Knowledge, you can say it is indirect or a copy paste. Somebody else's things you copy it in your memory and that is knowledge, where knowingness is direct and original. It cannot be copied because it is happens in that moment only. It's a validity and then it expires. Next moment, next new thing gets flows through you. The old one no longer valid. To give you some kind of, some kind of resemblance with the auto-destruct message, some message you can send and you can say within, after reading it will automatically get deleted, This kind of stuff, even though it is completely different purpose, but what I'm saying is the validity of that is only now moment. There is no other moment. There is no other time. There is no storage. You can convert it and put it into memory, then it becomes your knowledge, and then you can download the knowledge again. That's a different issue. Or you note it down somewhere, that's a different issue. But knowingness always flow in the now moment through your connection. And it, matter ends there. There is no need to store because all the time it is accessible. Now is eternal now, anytime. In fact, all the time it is accessible. It is only your intention that makes it which one you like to get connected to, not downloading. So that's why the masters, they always say it is flowing through me. Whatever you need to know, it is flowing through me. Means I am not creating it. It is not bringing it from my storage. Just simply what the masters need to do, that to connect. The knowingness will flow through them. Okay. If somebody calls that, okay, my brother is sick, you can do something about it and all those things. Knowledge needs a lot of data. Who is this person? What happened? What was the diagnosis? Knowingness doesn't need it. Okay. It needs the connection only. It needs to establish the connection. So whenever you hear, you get a feeling, like you get connection. Because your pointer is moving to that connection. So you get whatever information, it's not information, feeling. Okay, that's also another characteristics. Knowledge always generate thought and knowingness generate feeling. You feel about it. You need not to, something may not come in your mind. In fact, it is better if mind is not chattering that time. You can feel better. And then you can convert it into presentable form. If something, suppose if Babaji comes to communicate with me in this room itself, he first appeared, I felt about Babaji. I didn't see him. I didn't hear him. To understand the difference, none of my five senses used. I can feel him and it is instantaneous, now, done. Or whenever he transfers any kind of instructions or advice or something, it instantly get, okay, let me use downloaded, okay, because it is other, I don't have any other better word to instantly it come to you. But once you know it, you can explain it, maybe explanation take half an hour. But the downloading is instantaneous. This loving protection, and you need to, last year we have done, no? You need to marigold flower and you do it that way, circles and all that. I used half an hour to explain you the process. But when the process came, it came in an instant. It does not take time. Okay, that is knowingness. When you hear about something, then something gets downloaded instantly, you know what is it. Because all that is knows everything. You need not to teach or guide or shortlist, nothing. Nothing is needed. Everything is known. Okay, because all that exists is known. What you can do, you can create something new. That is possible. That creative force also coming from the creator. You are the co-creator. That's why it is called. So that feeling you are getting through this connection, that is called knowingness. And it is direct, it is first hand, and it is original. Whether somebody else also got similar feeling or doesn't matter. It's not important. Okay. The important is your source is always coming from inside internal connection. And external thing, what you are, another this characteristics is the external knowledge you get into your system. This is also a fundamental difference based on your conditioning of your mind and your belief system. Okay. You already have different types of filters and what is called contamination sources. When you observe some knowledge from the external world, whatever you hear, maybe same incidents, some story, 5 people will absorb it in a 5 different way based on their own conditioning and belief system. And say, let me give some silly example. Suppose somebody says, oh, in my room some cockroach came. Somebody says, oh my God, what nonsense. Somebody says, okay, cockroach, it will go. This thing, cockroach incidence is same. No? But you are receiving that incident, you are sending the signal to your mind the way you're conditioned. If you are fearful about a cockroach, your story will go a horror story. Okay. And if you are something of different type, oh, how did you kill it? Oh, not yet, kill it now. Their approach is different, The story is it's a matter to kill. See, so what I'm saying is that when you gather knowledge, it is always filtered through your conditioning of your mind and belief system. Knowingness is coming in a pure form. It does not depend upon your conditioning of your mind or any kind of belief system whatsoever you may have. When it comes, then you think about it and say, no, how it is possible? That is a different, that is your further interpretations of mind. But when it came in the pure form. Another characteristic of the knowledge versus knowingness, knowledge gives you the bondage. Like you're bound into one type of thinking or idea. And knowingness is complete by itself. It does not need interpretation. It is not, in other words, it is not subject to interpretation. It does not need approval or qualification from anyone because it is coming from the source. It does not need any qualification or approval. Whereas the external knowledge, as it is subject to interpretation, almost always it is controversial. Means somebody can have a different view of that. So people who has gathered knowledge, of course external as I explained, normal tendencies to go into argumentative mode, means logics, and they fight with each other. So who knows better and what is correct, which is not correct. This thinking of getting correct to be correct, it is also an idea. This is correct and that is not correct. In fact, I learned after a long time, after coming to spirituality, to be right is also an addiction. I wanted to be right. I wanted to be correct. It should be fair. Many people say, no? It should be fair. But this fairness, the idea of fairness coming from you, no? You think it is fair. Suppose a tiger is attacking a beautiful looking deer and eating it up. Okay. For you, if you watch the video, you see it is injustice to the deer. But for a tiger, it is a survival. So the fairness comes from your idea of which is right and which is wrong. Again, I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just telling the fact. This is how we operate. So when you go to the knowingness, you go beyond that. There is nothing right and nothing wrong. There is no duality. It is some incident happened. That's it. Nothing. It's not an accident, or it is not what is called fall of luck. Good thing. Nothing of that sort. All are incidents. So this is the fundamental differences. And because I was trying to think how I can explain this, because they are not in the same scale. It is very difficult to come to a point where we can do that. And the last point I have, just when I was contemplating on that, I have written, one is limited. This knowledge is limited, knowingness is unlimited, infinite. How can you quantify which is coming from the universal consciousness? Truly infinite potential, knowledge is limited. Because by design, human beings are limited. And that's why some masters call the human being as always private limited. Okay. Because infinite knowledge is not possible. No matter from the childhood till your deathbed, if you read books all the time, you listen to videos and all, you cannot know everything. But, okay, Newton, after having so many things in the physics, so many knowledgeable things, end of his life, he was telling, in the ocean of knowledge, which is a possible, that knowledge already downloaded, manifested, some people have it. Some people written, some people have not, and things like that. In that ocean of knowledge, in my life, I collected only few sand grains in the sea beach. I could not even go to the sea. See? That's what his ultimate realization of his lifelong knowledge he gathered and shared, and in Newton's first, second, third law, or whatever it is. That's what his true understanding of knowledge he gathered. So if the Newton, his end of life feeling is he just collected few grains of the knowledge of ocean sea beach, forget about anyone going anywhere near the middle of the sea. That's why I'm saying that it is limited. It is only our ego tells us we know too much. Okay. But that self-realization, how less we know, it makes us humble. Okay. And because that is the reason, they realized that so many things I don't know. So there is no way I can claim with something. You know, in the childhood, if somebody has, some relatives used to visit, houses, and they give some money, a little bit of money. So in the childhood, if I get a 50 paisa, it is I'm rich, that time, because I thought 50 paisa is a great money. So that time, but as a child point of view, it is a great money. And it's similar is our understanding, We get this much knowledge, or maybe postdoctorate into some subject, we thought we are top of the world, which is quite opposite. So all this, the masters, are they more knowledgeable that this PhDs and subject matter experts and whatnot? No, they don't need to be. They didn't together. They have the connection. Whatever they need to know, just connect and flow it to them. That's it. Why you need that big things and storage and huge degrees and something? And most of the degrees are not used. There is also another study, there's a different subject. Most of the people, whatever subject they have done, unless until they are in academics, they didn't use their knowledge, whatever they have, gathered on the universities and things like that. Or they use very small percentage. Most of things are something else. So management and finance and things like that, but not that true, this knowledge, what they gathered in the universities. Anyway, that's a different subject.
Sir, even in academics, more than 50% subject we never use.
Right, yeah. And so that's what I'm saying. So basically, I'm trying to say why knowledge is limited and knowingness is unlimited. Okay. It has got, by design, that's what I'm saying, by design, you cannot know everything. It's not possible. Even if you spend all your lifetime, it's not possible. And now let me give, in Sanskrit, or say in Hindi, there is a beautiful distinction between this, because in English it's a little complicated, because English everything is shown as knowledge. Yeah? So like normal knowledge or spiritual knowledge, all are knowledge. So, but in Hindi they call it, the first knowledge is called Gyan. And whoever has gathered more knowledge is called Jnani. And knowingness is come from it gives rise to the wisdom. This particular aspect is called Pragya. Okay, Pragyavan, who has a wisdom, because this wisdom came from this internal channel. So there is a distinction between Gyan and Pragya. Okay. And this Pragya is part of my spiritual name, Rishi Pragyanand Anubhuti. Okay, the pragya is representing of this universal knowledge, this connection. Joy of having that, and anubhuti is experience, pure experience, experience without experiencer. In Hindi, when you know something, knowledge comes that because it is somebody is there, somebody is getting the knowledge, the person is there, right? In Hindi, they call it anubhav. But when this person has dissolved, it is a pure experience that is called anubhuti. Okay, there is a difference between anubhav and anubhuti. Somebody can have anubhav, but anubhuti is pure experience without experiencer. That I, the identity is gone. There is no one to experience. It's a pure experience, complete by itself. All right, so this is a distinction between them. Then I will go about another matter, that why it cannot be expressed in words. That is the second part. But till now, if you have any question, you can ask me about knowledge and knowingness.
Guruji, the difference between Anubhav and Anubhuti.
Yeah.
Like, I am feeling heat now. So, मेरा अनुभव हो रहा है कि मुझे अभी गर्मी लग रही है, sir. So, it is very clear. Now,
Yes.
how do you give an example of Anubhuti?
तो गर्मी किसको लग रहा है?
शरीर को.
हाँ, तो शरीर इधर है ना?
हाँ, sir.
किसी का शरीर तो है ना वो?
हाँ जी.
तो वो अनुभव हो गया.
हाँ जी.
हाँ, जब तक शरीर है, जब तक आइडेंटिटी है, वो अनुभव है.
हाँ जी.
जब वो डिसॉल्व हो जाएगा, तो दैट विल बी अनुभूति.
Or the knowingness, we call it Anubhuti, sir.
Yes.
Because
वो किसी
knowledge
के ऊपर
is,
डिपेंड नहीं करता.
because knowledge is Anubhav. You are experiencing something from some book or some CD or TV or media, whatever.
Yeah.
While
In other
Anubhuti
words,
is,
अनुभव happening to someone.
हाँ जी.
Anubhuti is pure experience. There is no one is needed to have that. It is a pure experience. Identity is not there.
Okay.
Okay, means किसी को गर्मी लग रहा है, that is maybe अनुभव.
हाँ जी.
और जो weather is hot, that is अनुभूति. Weather is hot. किसी को लग नहीं रहा है, किसी को लगने का जरूरत भी नहीं है, वो अपने आप हॉट है. That's it. Okay.
Thank you, Guru.
All right. Okay. God bless you. I saw some remarks. Nirupam, you have written something? I just let me check. Okay. What is the nature of innovative idea? It is not coming from external sources. What is the nature? Intuitive knowledge. Yes, yes. Intuitive knowledge is coming from internal sources. In fact, all the scientific inventions came from this internal channel. It get from that ultimate sources, and then it came to the right people because who are ready to receive that, and they finally deliver it to the external world. So any kind of intuition coming from within is the knowingness. And it is not copied, because otherwise how can it be invention? It will be discovery or rediscovery. Okay. But if it is an invention, those feeling came, and then the feeling has to travel to the mind to get it interpreted into the words. Feeling does not need words. That is my second part. I will come to that. But any other question regarding?
Sir, I want to ask.
Yes, Shweta.
Sir, universal knowledge is always there. So, is it that when a candidate is ready, then knowingness will come through that candidate?
Yes. The only thing you have to establish connection. Like, you know, the transistor radios and things like that. There are different channels doing it all the time. Maybe some songs and all the news they are broadcasting all the time. You have to tune in to get it. Whichever you intend to connect, that will come to you. Not come to you, it will flow through you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, Uma.
How to tune in any affirmation or what we want to know, we should tell like that. How to tune in?
Say it again, please.
How to tune in?
Tune
to
in.
know.
First thing, yeah, that is what we do during meditation. First thing, chattering mind need to stop. And there is one complete session I explained about intuition. No? It comes as a feeling. You said that one. Okay, that's how we get it. And when it gets a complete clarity. There is no doubt, no confusion and things. Because all this confusion, all these doubts are created by our mind. If mind is truly stopped, who is doubting? No, nobody is doubting. And it doesn't depend upon your acceptance, non-acceptance, interpretations at all. It come like that and instantly goes there. And from the incident point of view, how that intuition comes, that I have given few example that somebody is, suddenly you say somebody is, getting, some child is getting drawn into a swimming pool and somebody just came and jumped and saved the child. That decision of to jump or not to jump and who is that child, whether it should be good or bad, that doesn't work that time. No? Instantly it happens. These are connection directly comes from the higher self. This kind of intuition. It's not logical. It is not, analysis and all these things. All systems are bypassed. So they directly come and then this happens. Okay. So those are all the intuitive, feeling what get from the source and how to receive that I have explained into that. You can listen to that, that session once again.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So no other question. Then I'll go to the next part. Next part is about why it is not possible to explain this in words, your knowingness. The knowledge is possible to explain in words because you gathered from outside. It came to you some form. So you know the form. Only thing maybe you heard and then you are telling or you are reading, you can write or say things, you can translate it from one mode to another, but you can write it. But knowingness, in fact, the ultimate truth cannot be expressed in words because words are not good enough to explain that and to portray that. Even if you do that, I'm also trying, while even explaining the difference between knowledge and knowingness, I'm trying to somehow fit knowingness into characteristics and it is beyond that character. I'm just going near around you to give some kind of idea that what the type of thing it is. Now, to understand this, I will give you an example of, there is a Taoism Chinese master who is very famous, Lao Tzu. Maybe Many of you heard his name. Lao Tzu has something, I just opened that here. So he says, he has a lot of, wisdom he shared. So one of them is this: those who know do not say. Those who say do not know. Okay, I will read it again, what he said. Those who know do not say. Those who say do not know. What does that mean? Those who know do not say. To me, it is more like the Newton example I have given. If they truly know, they know how much less they know. That's why they don't say. Okay. And those who say do not know. Because those who think that knowledge is big, like I give an example in my childhood, if I give a 50 paisa coin, I am a rich. And I can say to different people, showing to friends, oh, look, I'm rich today, I got 50 paisa. Because that is the child understanding of the wealth. Okay. Because in adult will not even talk about it. Because they know what the wealth is. Okay, I'm just giving some silly example here again, but anyway, I'm trying to convey the message here. So those who say, I have a 50 paisa, it's an indication they don't know. Okay. And in spiritual terms, more ego one person have, more they have a tendency to flaunt it and think like that. That is it. And the reality is, actually those who have filthy rich, they cannot, who are having little more than others, they say that I am rich and all, but those who are filthy rich, they also cannot say, maybe that's for different reason, because then some underworld will be behind them and things like that, because there's safety security. A lot of time you will see that winner of the lottery name withhold, like they don't publish it, because then, okay, they got the money, but at the same time, lot of other, criminals will be behind that person. So anyway, so jokes apart. So what I'm saying is those who have it, they don't say it. And because it is not, in this case, it is a knowledge, because they realized how much less they know. But spiritually, there is a different thing. What I explained earlier, those who operate from the knowingness, they don't have to say it. And neither they store it. Because it is not claimed to be their own. They know it is not my knowledge. It's the Brahma Gyan, the universal knowledge. I am just channeling it. I'm a channel. I'm not the owner. Always, it is there. That's why they don't claim it. It is my knowledge. Who is mine? Nobody. So that realization they have. Okay. So I hope it is to some extent clear. What does that mean? That those who know do not say, those who say do not know. So this is the explanation. Okay. Now, what happened was in this Lao Tzu's, the monastery, his disciples were discussing about this, the meaning of that. So then they could not conclude what does that mean. The disciples, hours together, they argued on this issue. Those who do not say, who know, they do not say. Those who say do not know. They argued. Then Lao Tzu came. The master entered into the room and they were asking, Guruji, please clarify for us, what does that mean? So this story is interesting. That's what I wanted to share with you. Then when he said, okay, fine. Okay, now tell me, which of you know the fragrance of a rose? He's asking the disciples. Rose ka fragrance, how many of you know? So everybody said, yeah, I know. So then he said, okay, now good. All of you know about the fragrance of rose. Now put it into words. You say it, how it is. Tell 5 minutes how a fragrance of a rose is. All of you know. Now tell me one by one, 5 minutes on how a fragrance of a rose is, and everybody kept silent. Then he said, who knows, they don't speak. See, such a beautiful way of teaching. This is the fundamental aspects of knowingness. You know the fragrance of rose, matter ends there. It is complete by itself. It does not need explanation, does not need, the words and further expressions down the line, because you will ruin that. It will no longer be truth. That's why it is called knowingness. Is complete by itself. You know it, matter ends there. All the masters operate from this knowingness. Okay, and definitely they don't say it. There is no need to say it. That I know. I know means there are two wrong things here. First is I, who are you? And know means knowledge. It didn't came from the external source. No, it's not a knowledge also. So then they operate from this knowingness, the feeling. And that, what they can do, they share, they transfer. Some knowingness comes, they pray because they add their intention and send it to others. And that's how the healing happens. You need not to say it. You need not to say, I'm sure many of you who has written to me, kindly, I have these issues and these things. So you must have seen I have written that I'll pray for you, I'm channeling healing for you, and that's it. But I know many of you said, what is this? They wanted some little bit of explanation for this, I will do that, for this, I will do that. As no, just because that is good enough. That is what is needed. No analysis needed. You wanted to satisfy yourself that to again glamorizing your problem, which I will never do. I will never discuss your problems because you will attract more energy into the problems. That healing and the prayer is good enough because it will lead you to the ultimate completeness or perfectness, what you really need. Or, 3 areas of our life we get this kind of lessons. One is health, one is money, and one is relationship. So we channel energy healing to the good health and, prosperity in the financial dimension and a good relationship with everyone. Perfect health, that prosperity and good relationship. That's all you need. No need to go for the analysis and glamorizing them and sharing them and these things. You will attract more, this kind of energies. Okay, it's all about the energy. Okay, so when this is sent, it is sent from that knowingness with a connection with the divine to make it perfect, because nobody else here in this world is perfect. You are through prayer, through healing, you are channeling that perfect energy to that person so that they got whatever the areas of darkness is, they got to lighten up with the perfectness. And that is the purpose of healing anyway. All right, so that completes the learning session. If you have any further question just on this, that why it cannot be explained in words, that's what I have given the Lao Tzu story. So, and this is why it is, because when you explain in words, you will diminish its value. It's not possible. Simple experience of how a rose smells. Nirupam is asking how to get knowingness. You don't get knowingness. You tune in to the universal consciousness and it flows through you. You don't get it. You don't, download it. You don't store it. During meditation, just in the 6th step we do all the time. Just stop thinking mind, connect to the higher dimension through the gap awareness, and then put your intention in. Just your intention, and it will flow through you. Okay. And that is also divine grace. There is no such guarantee. Or in other words, whichever you need to know, it will flow through you. Some of them you are asking about, I bought a lottery ticket, should I win it? It will not come to you. Okay. It knows, but it will not come to you. Or say you are asking when I will die. It depends which is your awareness level. If you got detached, it will come to you. I know my date of my death. But it comes to that maturity where you can handle that information or not. Because it knows everything, even your maturity to handle such information. Okay, like if a child is asking for money from mother for chocolate, etc., mother may be giving 10 rupees to go and buy the chocolate. Mother will not give 1 lakh rupees, no? Because she knows the child will not be able to handle it. Same here, universal consciousness is aware of your awareness. It will not pass on some information which will be harmful. If you know what is going to happen to you, some maybe disease is coming for something else, for internal cleansing or particularly the date of your death, rest of your life will keep crying. You will be useless. You cannot live your life. It will not come to you. But who got detached from it, it will come to you. It doesn't matter. Like all spiritual masters, they are aware. 700 times I died before and this is one more. Doesn't matter. N+1. It will end sometime. And okay, that is it. That is why it is called, if you, whatever at the time of death you have to get rid of. By living, you can detach from all of those, you get enlightened. Even from your death. So in other words, they say, being dead, you become immortal. Like whatever you need to surrender at the time of death, hesitantly and painfully, let's go. All property, all name, designation, relationship, everything goes. If you willingly detach from all those things, that means actually you have died that life. And then we become immortal. You connect from the soul consciousness which will not die. All our spiritual practices is to transition from how you can identify to your soul consciousness from this body consciousness. It's all about that. How much importance you give to that. How you play out in this world. When you shift our consciousness to that level, then we get enlightened. Means what I am wearing, which vehicle I am using, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're operating from soul consciousness. You know it is a matter of choice. If I wanted to lead a life of a billionaire, I could have decided it in my soul's plan and taken a birth accordingly. No issues, because the soul level you know. It's infinite. Source is infinite. Forget about our limited idea of wealth. And that's why it is said that truly wealthy are those persons who can readily they can give, because they are truly wealthy. They said nothing will get reduced, even if I keep giving. And that kind of consciousness flows through them. Okay. All right. Anyway, so any other question in this regard? No one? But it is understood, no, why it cannot be explained. That part is understood, right? Because that is important, because all those things cannot be said. If you say it, it will diminish its thing.